So my company is called CAD for Fashion. We do specialist training for fashion and textile designers because we use the software in a different way to sort of graphic designers and things like that. So my name is Erica Horne. I'm a founder of CAD for Fashion. I've been a product developer and designer for a while now. And I'm also a lecturer across quite a few different universities, quite a few different courses. So that ranges from fashion, textiles, knit, fashion communication, fashion business. And I started off in children's wear design. So I worked with prints quite a lot as well. So what I'm going to be doing with you today is taking you from this. So we've got a digital pattern file and our print tile, and we're going to take it to something that looks like this. So we've got our design dropped into the pattern, and we've also got an illustration of how that design is going to look when it's made up as well. So a little bit about why this method of printing is a really good way to work. So it allows us to print our design directly onto the pattern piece. It then allows us to create a lay plan. So we'll piece it together like a jigsaw puzzle. We'll have all of our legs, our waistbands, all of our different sizes, all in the right places so that we don't waste fabric. And it also means that it's super easy to stitch these together. There's no panels. It's just one piece for each leg. It's super economical in terms of waste and in terms of like time and labor as well. And of course, with digital printing, it means that we can use as many colors as we like without having to think about cost. So if we were screen printing, I'm sure you guys know, the more colors, the more screens, the more cost. Okay, so again, it's a way of being really creative as well, and creating a design directly onto the pattern piece that can then be printed and sewn together. Okay. So when we open up Illustrator, if it is the first time you have used it on this computer, or you have recently updated Illustrator, what you might notice is that all of the useful things that used to pop up here isn't there. So what I want you to do before we start is go to Window, go to Workspace, and go to Essentials Classic. This gives you the full toolbar, so all of the tools in Illustrator. It also gives you the control bar. So we've got our control bar at the top. This is just going to make things easier for us. So what we need to do with this pattern piece, first of all, is I'd like to get it so that I don't have to tilt my head to have a look at the leg and design on it. Okay, so we're going to make our page a little bit bigger, and we're going to rotate the leg, the pattern piece leg. So what we're going to do is head down to this tool here. This is our artboard tool. And with our artboard tool, we can make our page a little bit longer. We're going to keep the width as it is, but we're just going to give ourselves a little bit more height on the artboard. Okay, so it's this one here, and we're making the artboard a little bit longer. We're then going to hit the black arrow, our selection tool. I refer to them as the black and white arrow because I'm really professional, because I find it a lot easier to remember which one's which. So the black arrow, and what you're going to do is click on your pattern piece, and you're just going to rotate it. So do you want to watch me do it first, guys, and then have a go? Do you find that easier than trying to follow on? So have me up on screen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, have me up on screen. I'll show you a few steps and then I'll stop so you can have a go. Okay, so I'll just go back to, so we've used the artboard tool, this one here. I've made it a bit longer. I'm going to grab my black arrow. So if you use my demo part as an opportunity to make notes as well. So I'm going to select it with my black arrow and then I'm just going to rotate. Now, whilst I rotate, if I hold down Shift, it will lock it to like a 90-degree angle. Okay. This is our waistband piece. This is a binding piece and we don't need it. Okay. So we're going to just click on this one and delete it. And then we're going to do the same with the waistband. We're going to select it and we're going to rotate. And if you hold Shift whilst you're rotating, you'll notice it stays straight. And you're just going to place it up above there. So if you want to do that for me, guys, and just give me a thumbs up when you're done.
My page is the other way. I didn't see you did something before, but I was just making them fit on.
If you head to this button here on your...
Oh, right, yeah.
You can then just drag your page.
Okay.
And then you're going to use the black arrow to click on your leg and just rotate it so it's straight. Just making it easier to design with. If I zoom into...
Yeah, done it.
Yeah, fab. If I zoom into my pattern piece, guys, can you see that here I've got a notch? This is one notch. When we look at patterns, these notches help you sew things together. And on the back of a pattern, so this is the back seam because it has 2 notches. That's a really important thing to remember, because often what you'll get from the pattern cutters is a file of random shapes and you have to try and figure out which bit's which. Okay, so this is my front of my leg. There is no side seam. Okay, so the side seam would run down the middle of here. Yeah, and this is the inside leg seam. And this is the back rise and the front rise. And we know it's the back because it's got 2 notches very close together. Okay, so we've got this how we need it. We can now start to think about our design. So this is why I provided you with this legging template, guys. So what I'd suggest you do is leave this page as it is. This is your template page. This is where you can copy and paste a blank legging a few times to do a design. I'm going to work on this page so we can zoom in. And again, shortcuts, a lot of them are the same as Photoshop. So zoom in is Command and plus, or Control and plus on a PC. And what I'm going to start to do is draw in some panels. So with my pen tool, I'm going to go in and decide to put in some panels in places. So let's say we click here and click here. Yeah. I'm going to just make sure that my line has no fill color. So in fact, let's select it with the black arrow. There we go. And up here, we can change our fill color to none and our stroke color to black. So again, I'm going to do 2 lines and then I'll let you guys have a go. So fill color none, stroke color black. And then with the pen tool, what I can do is start to design into my legs. So let's do from this point to this point. Okay. Every time I click, it creates a point with the pen. I don't know if you've used it before, but all we need to do at the moment is just create lines. And when you're drawing with the pen, you'll notice that it follows you around the page. To stop this from happening, hit Enter on the keyboard. Okay, so you can draw in another line and then hit Enter. And then maybe, like my original design, I could do another line Yeah. And I could do just that on that leg, or maybe I want to put a panel down the side of the leg. So just have a go at drawing some lines in on your designs for me, guys. So go from one side to the other. We've got the pencil, we've got no fill, and a black stroke. Draw in some style lines. I'll show you how to do a side panel in a second.
Just a quick question, you know, when you've done a line, when you get to the end and it's just like obviously highlighted blue still, how do you deselect that?
So once you've clicked, you can press enter to disconnect. Yeah. So you can press enter to disconnect, but then if it's still blue, head to one of your arrows and just click in a blank space. Did you get that, Evie? So if I show you what I mean.
Sorry, my mic wasn't off. Yeah, it's worked now. When I was pressing enter, it wasn't working, but if I click on a blank space, it works.
Yeah, yeah. So enter just stops the pen from continuing to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you want to edit your lines, guys, so if you can just watch my screen for a second. So if we've created a line, and actually mine's a little bit wonky, it's not even all the way. I can change the lines that I've put down by going to the white arrow, the direct selection tool, and then I'm going to click on the end point that I would like to move. And I'm going to click and drag. So click once, then click and drag. And that allows you to move the points around. Yeah, so I'll show you that again. So white arrow, click on the point first, then click and drag. Okay.
I have a question. Is there a way of automatically joining the line to the legging?
It should kind of like feel like it sticks.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you've gone a bit too long or not close enough, again, zoom in, grab your white arrow, click on the point you want to move, then click and drag, and you should feel it's kind of pulling you to intersect. Yeah.
Yeah, I think pretty much.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Just as long as there's no huge gaps.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And if you did want to curve your line, we could go to the pencil. I'm holding my finger down on the pencil and I'm going to this tool here, the anchor point tool. So if you want to do a curved line, so let's say I want to make this look more realistic at the back, I can just click and drag on the line with the curve tool. It's not called the curve tool, it's called the anchor point tool, but I use it for curving things. Okay. So to turn a straight line into a curved line, grab your anchor point tool and click and drag. So if I do that with this one, there are much more accurate ways of doing this, guys, but this is just a quick way of doing this. Okay. So if we were to do a panel down the side of the leg, we would use our pen tool and we would stop at the knee. So we'd put a point at the knee and then a point at the hem. So I've just drawn straight lines. I'm then going to go to my anchor point tool and I'm going to click and drag. And can you notice I'm going out with my click and drag, but I'm also going up as well. And click and drag here. And again, it's not perfect, but it's great just to mock up some panel ideas. Okay. Have you all got some lines on your legs now, guys? Can you give me a thumbs up? You ready? Yeah. Evie, are you ready?
Were you using the brush tool to make that line?
The pen. So this one here, the pen tool.
Oh, okay.
I drew a straight line first. And then I used this tool, the anchor point tool, to curve. Yeah. If you want to show a side view, this is going to be really important. What I need to make sure I have are rulers at the side and the top of my page so that I can use things called guides. This is going to help me match things up on my front, back and side view. Okay, so I'm going to go to view and I'm going to go to rulers and I'm going to go to show rulers, or Command and R. Okay. You might have done this in Photoshop before, but these are guides. You can pull guides down to help you match up certain things across your legs. So this is where the V shape goes up on the side of the leg. Does that make sense? And this is where it hits the middle of the leg. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit technical. You can skip the side view altogether, guys, if you want to, but if you think about it, our pattern is actually a side view, isn't it? Yeah, this is the side of your leg. Okay, so we can have a go at creating that V shape. And in fact, I think it's just going to come back down here. Yeah. So that's what the side of the leg is going to look like here. In fact, that's completely wrong. There we go. We're looking at this line, aren't we? So that's where it needs to be. So it's from here to here. So that's the middle of the leg and back down. And okay, so remember, this is just a mock-up. This is not what's printed. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does give you an idea of what that side is going to look like. So I'm using these guides to line up the top and also the middle, because at the moment the side seam is the top and the front of the leg is the middle, isn't it? Yeah. So again, I'm going from here to here to here for my panel. Let's just nudge it over a little bit. Okay. I don't want you to spend any time on your side view just now, because we've got to get our design onto our pattern piece. But we are going to go through to the next part, which is adding our print and our color to our design. Okay, this is the fun bit. So I'm just going to go up to view and I'm going to go to guides and I'm just going to clear the guides that I've already got. Okay, so view guides and clear guides. And in order to make shapes that we can apply pattern and color to, we're going to grab our black arrow. So watch me first, guys, and then you can have a go. So I've got my black arrow. I'm going to click and drag over my designs. And I'm going to use my shape builder tool. So the shape builder tool allows me to create shapes from lines. Okay, simply. But before we use the shape builder tool, I just want you guys to double click, make sure gap detection is ticked, and make sure it's set to large. So I'll leave that up for a second. So we've double clicked on the shape builder. We've ticked gap detection. And we've made sure the gap length is large. And we hit OK. Then again, just watch my screen for the moment. You're going to click wherever you want to create a panel. So everywhere you've added that new line in, you're going to click. And it doesn't look like much is happening, but I promise you it is. Okay. Once we've finished clicking in those new panel places, we can switch to our black arrow, and then you'll notice that we can then pick up each piece separately and we can give that each piece a fill, even if that's just a color for now. Okay, so spend a couple of minutes So grab your shape builder. Make sure you've got everything selected first as well, guys. And then let me know when you have created some shapes. So I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Place. I'm going to find my print. So it could be one of you guys. I'm going to choose the blue one, so I've got blue here. I'm going to hit Place, and then can you see it's attached to my cursor? I'm going to draw the swatch at the scale I want it to appear on my legging. And then we're going to drag that into our swatches panel now, guys. So I've got my swatches panel, which is this little one here. If you ever lose the swatches panel, you can go to Window and Swatches. And then we're going to drag that pattern into our swatches palette. You might come across this as you use Illustrator. So can you see this swatch has got a cross through the center of it? Does yours have a cross through the center of it? Yeah? Yeah? So it just means that at the moment it's not embedded into the document, so it won't let us pop it into the swatches palette. Okay, so what we need to do, so this is really important for your notes, up here, so when you have the swatch selected, you'll see at the top the word embed. You need to hit that first and just hit OK on this box. Then you can drag it into your swatches palette. So once it's in the swatches palette, what we can then do is select one of our legs and add a print. Okay, that worked for everyone? Fab. So we're going to move straight on now to the pattern, because we've only got 10 minutes left, guys. It goes really quick when you're learning something new. So I'm now going to the legging pattern, and we need to think about how our panels need to look on here now. But before I start going and drawing some lines, what I'm going to do is make sure that I have a new layer created. I don't want to work on this original layer. So you've got a layers palette like you do in Photoshop. And I'm going to rename this as my original pattern. And I'm going to create a new layer. And call it print design or print patterns. Okay. Now, make notes for this, guys, because I'm going to whiz through this, and then the rest of the time I'll help you do it yourselves. Okay, so it's the same principle as what we've just done, essentially. So make notes and watch what I'm doing. Don't try and follow along. So I've created a new layer. Okay, and what I'm going to do is use this tool here. This is the group selection tool. The group selection tool allows me to just select one thing from a group. So all I want from this pattern is the outside edge. Don't want any of the other information, just the outside edge. And I'm going to get that from the waistband as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to Edit, Copy. So we use the group selection arrow. We've selected the outside edge of the pattern. We're going to go to Edit, Copy. We're going to go to the new layer, the print layer, and we're going to go to Edit, Paste in Front. In fact, just need to hide that layer first. So hide your original pattern layer, select your new print layer, and then Edit, Paste in Front. Okay, so I'll show you that one more time. So I'm going to use my group selection arrow, selecting the outside edge of my waistband. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna hit edit, copy. I'm gonna hide that layer. Select my print layer and then edit, paste in front. Okay. And then let's just keep that original pattern layer locked and hidden for now. And these are the shapes we're going to work on. So this is where we're going to do the exact same thing as we just did on here. And we're going to go to our pen tool. We're going to make sure there's no fill and a black stroke. And we're going to think about where our designs sit and think about which leg we're drawing on. So if you remember, this is the front of my leg, isn't it? Yeah. And if I've got a V shape, I'm going to go from here to the center of my leg and back down. Okay. And again, and back down. And then lastly, and back down. And then we're going to use the black selection tool, select everything, go in with our shape builder. And because we've already changed the settings once, we don't have to change the settings again. And it's again, just doing that exact same process of clicking in the spaces we want to add our pattern or our fill color. And then we can select those areas. And we just need to drop in our print again, guys, in this document. Okay, so we're going to go to File and Place, grab our print design. Click and drag the print to the size you want to use it. Make sure you hit embed. Hit OK on this box here. And then drag it into the swatches palette. We can then go through and add that print in places. Okay, I think just a warning about Illustrator, guys. If you see, can you see that white line? Don't panic, that's not your tile. If you zoom in and it disappears, it's not actually there. It's just Illustrator having problems generating the appearance, okay? So don't panic if you see that white line. Can I just show you how to pull some colours as well? So very quickly, and then I'll spend this I'll spend an extra 10 minutes with you guys helping you to do this yourselves, okay? I want to show you how to pull some colours out from your print so that you can use them in solid areas, okay? So we're going to head over to our eyedropper tool. So it's this one here. And on that original print swatch that we placed, we're going to go in and we're going to pick up some colours. So keep an eye on this box here and keep clicking until you see a colour. You can also obviously copy and paste a colour palette from Photoshop if you've got one, or if you know the Pantone references, you can go to your swatches icon just here, go to your colour books and choose from the Pantone books here, okay? But very quickly, and we know that they're going to match as well if we do this. So when we digitally print, if we pull colours from the same fabric that's going to be printed, we know that those colours are going to match, aren't they? So let's pull out that violet colour. Okay, so once I've selected the colour with the eyedropper, we're going to go to the swatches palette here, and then we're going to hit this plus sign. So add new swatch. We have the option to change to a spot colour here as well. So I'm not sure what you guys are working with at the moment, but you have the choice to have a process, a CMYK colour, or a spot colour. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Let's pick up this really vibrant, like coral colour. So again, I've used the eyedropper, I've selected an area, and then I'm going to hit the plus sign here and choose from spot or process. Then I can fill the rest of my design in with colour. Okay. That's just one leg. We need two, don't we? And we need a pair as well. So the last step, once you've done one design, the last step is to, let's turn our original layer back on. So we're going to do this to both of them. We're going to select one leg, and that's selecting both layers here. And we're going to go to Object, Transform, and Reflect. Object, Transform, and Reflect. We're going to make sure that vertical reflection is ticked in this box. You'll get the recording of this session as well, guys, by the way, so don't panic too much about notes. So we've got Object, Transform, Reflect. We're hitting vertical, and we're making sure that we hit copy here as well. Okay, so copy. And then we can drag that over. Now we have a pair of legs. Okay. And lastly, before we do anything else, let's just lock and turn off that original pattern layer. And let's choose purple for the waistband as well, shall we? So sometimes you might find it easier to design onto the leg and then go back to your design template and try and recreate it, see what it will look like. Yeah, in 3D. But that is essentially how you take it from your pattern design, pop it into a pattern, or pop it into a garment drawing like this.